Guys, it is raining, it is cold. Welcome to another video. I'm walking down the steps. I know I'm not really stable with the camera. Anyways, we're on the 2-5 list, 1-3 lists, 5-10 lists. Whatever we're feeling. It's a nice Friday night. Good time to mix it up. It's a little bit later. I usually don't start my sessions this late, but got caught up earlier in the day. So it's like 6 o'clock right now. Friday night. Obviously, so many cars around here. So, should be packed in there. Should be some good action. Let's try to find a good game. And yeah, I can see every step I make. I'm now seeing how shaky the camera is. So I'm gonna stand here and end the intro. That's it. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Leave a like, smash that like button. It's always much appreciated. It helps the channel grow, helps the video reach more people. So if you enjoy it, yeah, let's try to spread it out. Anyways, let's get in there, hop into a game, and run things up. We bind to 2-5, sit in for 1,000, and here in the must-move game, three-handed, we pick up 6-7 of diamonds in the small blind. Button opens up to $15. Very familiar with him. He's a solid reg here, and I decide to 3-bet to 55, playing short-handed. He makes the call, and we're going heads up to a flop. Flop comes 8-7-5 rainbow with 1 diamond. Dream flop for us. And here definitely going to be c-betting with middle pair and open-ended. I bet $70 and he makes the call. Going to a turn which is the 3 of clubs. Brings in the backdoor club draw. Doesn't really concern me too much. Here, decision point to either bet again for value or just check, since we do have like a medium strength hand at this point. All things considered, we started the hand three-handed. I throw out a bet of $115. He thinks about it and folds. Look at us taking down the first pot of the day. Next, we move into the main game and we pick up pocket aces in the button. Under the gun opens it up to $15. Cutoff makes the call. And now onto me here on the button. It's a dream spot facing an under the gun open. So I go for the 3-bet to $65. Under the gun player folds, and now back to the cutoff who made the call for 15. He says he wants to make the vlog and calls, so here we are, Hong. I don't know what to make of it, but let's see a flop. Flop comes Jack 4 rainbow. He checks to me, and I decide to just snap check it back with a very strong hand, going to a turn which is the king of spades. It brings in that backdoor flush draw, and without the ace of spades in my hand, I size up to 110 when he checks to us. He tanks for quite some time and thinks about calling, but ends up electing on a fold. I show this one time because I actually 3-bet with a legitimate hand. Also, it's a fun table, and why not just show the aces the one time I have it. Next hand, ace-jack of diamonds on the hijack, playing 5-handed. I open it up to $20 here. The player to my left on the cutoff makes the call, and we're going heads up out of position. Flop comes king jack 9 rainbow. Here with middle pair, top kicker, I decided to elect on a bet of $20, and now he raises to $50. Really interesting spot, since this is a player that I've played before in the past, and we actually flopped a set against me and slow played it till the river. Anyways, I decided to just make the call with a pair, going to see if we can improve with either a diamond or some sort. Going to a turn which is the 6 of spades. Brings in the full rainbow, absolute brick on this board, and I check. He now throws out a bet of $120. Definitely the decision point of the hand for me now, with a very medium strength hand and facing a pretty large bet. I'm curious what his hands could be. I feel like his hands can be weighted towards a lot of value. Jack 9 suited, pocket 9s, king jack, king 9, all definitely in his range. For some reason, I decided to just get a little sticky and make the call for 120. Probably just leveled myself into it, maybe thinking that he could have some sort of hand like queen jack that he could be overplaying of some sort. Anyways, I decide to call. River comes a deuce, even more of a total brick than the 6 earlier. I check, and he bets $275 now, continuing his story of having a strong hand. He's got $400 behind. The thought of check raising as a bluff here definitely did creep into my mind, but after thinking things over and not being crazy, I fold, and he tells us later in the session he had queen 10 flopping the nuts. So I believe him. Nice hand to him there, and we probably just gave him an extra $120. This next hand here, king 10 offsuit under the gun, playing short-handed. This is pretty borderline, but I decided to open this one up to $20 for some reason. Only the button calls, so heads up, once again, out of position. Flop comes 10 high. It's 10, 8, 6 rainbow. Pretty good flop, all things considered. So I put in the c-bet to $20 with my top pair. Button makes the call. Turn is the ace of clubs. Once again, that backdoor flush draw is there. I check now, considering that although it's really good for my range, it's not good for my exact hand, and he could be floating with ace high sometimes. He does throw out a bet of $35, and with a pair of 10s and a decent kicker, I decided to just defend here. I think folding is a little exploitable, since he can definitely be betting to blow me off the pot. Anyways, we're going to a river. The river is a 7, so 4-liner out there, and I just don't have a feeling this player is going to be connecting as a straight too often here. I don't really see him having 10-9. I don't really see him having too many two-pair combos. So I decided to lead out for $85 as a bluff. He thinks about it. He says, "You're welcome for the donation," makes the call. I don't feel great about it. I tell him I have a 10, and he shows us ace-king. So the bluff is not going to get through this time. Guys, I am so excited to announce we've got some new merch. This is the new WSOP metal coin to commemorate my win. The design is amazing. It's the metal card protector, and there's, as you can see, I'm signing and numbering all of them because there's a limited amount of 500. These are so cool. It's like gold around the rim, and it's pretty heavy, and you have the pocket fours, obviously, with the bracelet on there. So I'm hand signing and hand numbering every single one of them. Up for a limited time only 500 available, so go check it out, www.rampagepokerstore.com. And I'm going through all of these and happy to send them out. I'm so freaking excited about this. Hopefully you guys are too. Thank you guys so much for the support and letting this happen. And if you want one, just go to the website and order one. This next hand, 10-9 of clubs on the big blind with a button straddle. I was talking about blind raising to 40 earlier in the hand if the small blind were to blind raise to 20. Just trying to build some action at this table. It's always a good time, but it was declined. So now the small blind limps or makes the call of the button straddle. Now I raise it to 45. Given my speech play earlier, the player to my left now 3-bets to $150, and now action folds to me. Definitely thinking that there is a much higher frequency of a light 3-bet, given that 1, I just have the most aggressive image. 2, I also announced that I did want to blind raise this hand for fun. And 3, this player is in position, and if there's someone to 3-bet light on the table, it's probably going to be me. I don't want to play this suited connector out of position, so flat calling here seems like a horrible decision. Let's put in the light 4-bet here, and 4-bet to $400. We're also playing $1,000 deep, so ideally I don't want to be doing this playing so shallow, but I figured that this is a not horrible spot to go for it. So with that said, definitely putting the pressure on here on this straddled pot. He tanks for a minute or two and ends up putting in the fold. I show my hand since it's very good for the game. Next interesting spot that we stumble upon, pocket deuces in the cutoff. Nothing too fancy pre-flop as it becomes a 5-way limped pot. Always going to be playing my deuces to hit a set, hopefully. Flop comes king 7 deuce 2 hearts. Who would have thought that I'm going to put this hand in there and flop a set? So action checks to me here in the cutoff, and in this limped pot, I throw out a bet of $15. The button to my left makes the call, and the small blind check raises to $60. Folds to me, and this action seems super strong, considering he's out of position, considering there's a caller in between. I would like to start to commit stacks. Although I'm out of position, there is a flush draw out there, and I just want to isolate and get this heads up. I go for the 3-bets to $200, like I said, considering that his action seems so strong. Hopefully, he has a hand strong enough to call or just jam. The button in between us gets out of the way, and now action back onto the small blind. He thinks about it, grabs his entire chip stack, and pushes it into the middle. We snap call, there's no way we're folding, and we're off to a run out.
Somebody show me something amazing.
The small blind shows us king deuce offsuit, and for flopping top and bottom pair, it's no good. Our set's going to hold, and we take down a pretty large pot. And shout out to Lau and Mike for the antics in the background. Following hand we go, ace king offsuit and under the gun. I opened it up to $20 and only the big blind makes the call. He's a pretty short stacked player with about $200-ish in his stack, so let's see a flop. Flop is jack 9-5, 2 hearts. He checks to me, and with ace king high, I think it's a borderline spot. Probably can just check, but I think the big blind's going to have a much wider defending range. I bet $15 and he makes the call for 15. Going to a turn which is the deuce of hearts, so we do improve with the nut flush draw and 2 overs. He checks again, and I size up to $50. With this $50 bet, he makes the call. He only has about 125 behind. Let's find a way to improve. The river comes the ace of diamonds. Pretty good card for us. Probably would have liked to see a hearts, obviously, but top pair is good enough. He checks, and like I said, he's pretty short with 125 behind. I don't think he can call a shove for his entire stack with this ace, as it's certainly a scare card. With that said, I try to extract some small value out of him. I bet $65. With this bet, he says that this is just the worst river possible, but ultimately puts in the chips for a call. Show my hand, and we are good with top pair, top kicker on the river. This following hand gets a little dicey, little interesting, as we pick up ace king of diamonds, so a little bit better than last hand, and we're on the button. Under the gun player opens it up to $20. The next 2 players call, and now on to me. Certainly putting in the 3-bet since we're multi-way. Definitely going to size up here to hopefully isolate this under the gun opener. I 3-bet to $90. And unexpectedly, there's a big blind player who snap calls. He seems a little tilted, and he's just been playing 100% of his hands. So not too surprised he's going to call. And after this big blind player calls, the under the gun player makes the call, and the 2 other players call behind as well. So we're going 5 ways to the flop in a 3-bet pot. There's a lot of money in the middle. Flop comes 8, 6, 7, 2 clubs. That's exactly what you're looking for with ace king of diamonds. The big blind checks. The under the gun player leads out for $200. The cutoff makes the call for $200. Obviously, there's not much else to do but fold here, but let's just continue and see what happens, because this hand is pretty massive. Next to act, the small blind now jams his whole stack in there for $208. So now basically the under the gun and cutoff player has to call for the $8 more, and we're going 3 ways to a run out. The turn comes a 10, action goes check check on this turn, and the river is a queen. Once again, it goes check check. Small blind shows his hand of 10-7 of diamonds. He's going to take this down as the cutoff had 5-6 offsuit, and under the gun player had ace king of clubs. So the small blind's going to dodge all the outs in the world and take this down with 2 pair.
Oh my God, no. 10-7. Oh, come on. Take it, come on. Take it, come on. Here, take it.
Nice hit. Nice hit, my man. Nice hit. You got it. Rapid fire through these hands. Next spot, king queen offsuit in the small blind. There are 2 limpers to the cutoff who has a short stack and raises to 25. Here in the small blind facing this action, pretty weird spot since I don't actually know how tight this range is. Haven't seen him play too many hands, and considering he's a short stack, I don't want him to 4-bet rip it in and having to fold king queen off. With that said, I decided to just flat call. I thought about folding for a little bit as well, but whatever. We're going to play this hand, and the other players call as well. So we're going to a flop 4 ways, and the flop is king, queen, 5, rainbow. Beautiful flop here. I'm going to check my entire range to the field. Action checks the cutoff, who throws out a bet of $40. Although we're out of position, this player is short, and we have the board all locked up. With that said, I decided to just flat call here and slow play, probably go for a raise on the turn of some sort. Anyways, I call, and one of the limpers in position also calls. Turn comes another 5. Pretty safe card. I literally only lose to aces now pretty much. So with that said, I check, the other player checks, and the cutoff thinks and puts in the jam of $178 total. This is a pretty easy spot to just isolate, get that other player out of there, and go heads up to a run out. So I size up to 400. The limper snap folds. I show my hand since we're ahead a good percentage of the time. But not this time. The opponent shows us 5-6 of clubs. The river does not improve us, and we're going to stack off against this player and double him up. Nice hand, Mike.
Make the vlog. Yes! Yes, I made the vlog! This is the highlight of my life right here. I called the flop because I had 2 spades and there's a spade.
From king queen off, we pick up king jack of diamonds in the cutoff, playing 5-handed. Player to my right open limps. He has a pretty wide limping range. It seems like he's interested in playing a lot of hands. So I size up to $25 and didn't get the memo that this was going to be a $25 bomb pot because we're going 5 ways to the flop. Why not? Flop 5 ways comes king 7-7 rainbow. Action checks to me on this board, and with top pair, kicker a little suspect, but it is what it is. I throw out a bet of $55, and we eliminate the field from 5 to 2 because the big blind makes the call. Off to a turn, which is the ace of diamonds. Brings in that backdoor flush draw, and he checks to us for a second time. We're in a pretty tricky spot here because we have the nut flush draw, but we're also chopping with pretty much any king. Not going to put him on some sort of ace-king hand. I feel like we could just bet for value here. So I decided to just bet $80, pretty small amount since we're free rolling against any king. Now he does something very unexpected, which is a jam of $600. Like I said, we're free rolling against any king, but we're totally screwed against a 7 for trips. And here at this point, I pretty much announce what I have, and I ask the opponent if he wants to run it once or twice if I call. He says he'll happily run it twice. So with that said, I think now with running it twice, we're priced in good enough to make the call with our equity, and hopefully that somehow we're up against the king and not a 7. Anyways, I toss in the chips when he agrees to run it twice. Let's gamble here. So we improve to the nut flush, hoping that we're good there. He shows us king 5 of hearts, and he gets quartered here. We win 75% of the pot, and this is just a really weird spot to be in. Very lucky to be free rolling, and lucky that he agreed to run it twice. Picking up pocket 9s under the gun with a button straddle here. Once again, the player to my right in the big blind, he limps. He's been limping a wide range of hands. I raise things up to $50 to hopefully ISO. The player to my left makes the call, and the big blind makes the call. So 3 ways to a flop, which comes queen 7 deuce 2 clubs. Action checks to me, and with second pair here multi-way, I can either go check or throw out a very small value bet. Don't need to be afraid of the queen right now, or at least immediately. I do throw out a bet of $65. The player to my left makes the call, and we're going to a turn. Turn comes the 8 of hearts, so brings in 2 hearts on the board, so with the backdoor flush draw. I'm out of position, and I'm very unsure of what to do. I have the betting lead here, and I don't necessarily want to give it up. So I feel like if I'm betting here, it's not necessarily for value, but it's almost like a semi-bluff to charge for draws, but also just to not give out a free card. But still very unsure of where I stand in this hand yet. So with that said, I throw out a bet of $120. He now raises us to $275. This is a pretty easy fold now, so we let this one go. I think we might have made a mistake betting turn. Probably can check, but let me know in the comments below. He later on told us that he had a set, so nice hand him on. Way to take this one down. Next hand with jacks in the cutoff. There's an on the gun straddle here, and once again, the player to my right makes the call for $10. Obviously, he has a wide range. We're trying to play against him. I raised to $50. The big blind cold calls is $50, and everyone else folds. So didn't expect to play with this opponent, but here we are in position. Flop comes king 10 5 2 diamonds. This is pretty similar to the last spot that we played last hand with 9s. For the same reasons as last hand, don't need to be afraid of the king just yet. I throw out a small bet of $55. She makes the call. Going to her turn, which is another king. Great card for us, as it's very unlikely she has a king. Got to get 10x to make the call or charge her diamonds. With that said, once she checks to us again, I bet out $80, a little bit smaller sizing, 1/3 pot. She makes the call, and we're feeling pretty good that she didn't check raise us, so we're going to a river. The river is the 3 of clubs. It's a total brick, total blank, and once again she checks for the 3rd time. This feels like a spot that I definitely have to go for thin value for, but I elect against it in this specific spot. I check, and she shows us ace 10 offsuit. So hard to see that hand, as we definitely could have gotten about $100 or $125 more out of it on the river, but we're taking this down with jacks. Last hand of the session, 10-9 offsuit on the big blind, and the small blind opens it up to $20. I'm going to defend here. Blind versus blind situation, we go to a flop. Flop is 10-7-4 rainbow. He checks to us, and with top pair in a blind versus blind spot, feels like a spot that we definitely should bet, so I size to $20. He check raises us to $90, and I'm a little confused. This is against an opponent who's a very solid reg here, and he can be doing this with a wide combination of hands, especially blind versus blind, against someone who's going to be bluffing very heavily in position. So I just make the call with my 10, definitely not folding just yet. Turn is the 3 of spades, and once again on this turn, he throws out a bet of $140. So 5-6 gets there, which is definitely a combination that he could be check raising with. Getting there immediately on the turn, just very mixed between calling and folding now. Feels like I definitely have to defend the 140 sometimes, but probably can just be letting go when I don't improve on most runouts. Anyways, I don't really have a plan for the river, so probably can fold, but I decided to just be a little stickier in position. I make the call, and probably a mistake since I don't have a plan. The river comes the jack of clubs, so once again, I'm not really going to be liking any sort of card that comes out here unless it's like a total deuce. But now he sizes up to $600, and this is just unfortunate. A bunch of draws get there, 8-9 is there, like I said, 5-6 got there. I really can't find too many combinations of bluffs unless he just really wanted to be spewy and start throwing chips in the middle. With that said, with just a pair of 10s and a pretty weak kicker, we make the fold, and we're pretty uncomfortable in these blind versus blind spots. So today wasn't the smoothest of sessions. Ran into some roadblocks. Action was just absolutely crazy. I think the first 5-7 hands we went over happened in the first hour, and today we played a total of 4 hours and like 47 minutes, so just under 5 hours here. Pretty average standard session, but like 2 hours in, I had like 10 hands to talk about. So yeah, that was a lot of action, a lot of things going on. A lot happened today. Wasn't all smooth, like I said, but it makes for a pretty good video, so hopefully you enjoyed this one. We were in for 1,300, out for 1,625. So profit is profit. 325 bucks. I'll take that in just under 5 hours. So pretty average 2-5 session. Gotta watch out for this car, and that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Smash that like button. Comment down below if you want to win a chip. All that fun stuff. And with that said, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.